truth. But you can help us regrow by just subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and commenting down below. Thank you. George Conway obliterated Trump live on air with calm precision, dismantling his lies and lawsuits without raising his voice. Trump, expecting the usual, left looking like a broken wind-up toy, unable to adjust before Conway's surgical takedown.
I was offered the job of head of the civil division of the Department of Justice, and I filled out all the forms. They ran my background check, and I was interviewing people who were going to work underneath me. I was sort of far along there, and then I just started having this queasy. Donald Trump, we know, is basically a Matryoshka doll? How do you say that? Of lies and mendacity. Basically, he'll lie, then he'll lie about lying, then he'll lie about lying, and then he'll lie about lying, and that's what he...
YouTube has terminated our main channel with millions of views just for telling the truth. But you can help us regrow by just subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and commenting down below. Thank you. George Conway obliterated Trump live on air with calm precision, dismantling his lies and lawsuits without raising his voice. Trump, expecting the usual, left looking like a broken wind-up toy, unable to adjust before Conway's surgical takedown.
I was offered the job of head of the civil division of the Department of Justice, and I filled out all the forms. They ran my background check, and I was interviewing people who were going to work underneath me. I was sort of far along there, and then I just started having this queasy feeling like I don't really want to work in this administration, because of what I saw.
George Conway, a legal powerhouse, delivered a verbal smackdown so sharp it left Trump embarrassed. A Supreme Court winner in Morrison versus National Australia Bank, Conway was even considered for the top DOJ roles. And as Kellyanne Conway's husband, he truly keeps his enemies close.
So here's the rub. He doesn't think there's anybody else in the world other than him.
Right.
Because he is the world's ultimate narcissist. So in his universe, he is the only person, and he is certainly the only person that matters. We don't really exist. We are just sort of objects.
On the broadcast, Conway dives into Trump's failures, highlighting his talent for turning golden opportunities into disappointments. It's as if Trump has reversed Midas touch, turning everything into material for late-night comedy sketch.
I think everybody overthinks this guy. There's no strategy. There is no thought. And the brand is just him. He lives in this world where there's just him. Okay?
But it's not just him, George. It's a hell of a lot of people out there who've gotten sucked up into this thing and that are perpetuating
I agree with
that brand.
I'm talking about in his mind.
Okay.
None of us matter. Those people don't matter. They're not real people. He doesn't care what happens to them. If they show him adulation and they do what his bidding, that's good. If they don't do his bidding, he will destroy them. He will discard them. None of us, in his mind, okay, he's someone as a man with no empathy, a man with no conscience.
Conway highlights Trump's business ventures as reality TV disasters, from failing casinos to a disappointing university. His business history is a how not to guide with stakes vodka and airlines that crashed and burned.
Therefore, he can violate no laws because he is the law. He interprets the law. And not only that, according to Napoleon, apparently that is allegedly a quote from Napoleon, translated from the French, which obviously he does not speak. He is saving the country, and therefore, from Sleepy Joe, who was out there just running amok over everything because he was so energetic, and he is saving the country, therefore he can violate no laws, which is convenient because he is the one who gets to decide whether he's violating any laws. So he's already decided it. We don't need a legal system. We don't need a constitution. It's done. Life is very easy in the world.
Conway critiques Trump's political mishaps, likening his leadership to a bull in China shop. Trump's foreign policy, full of grand promises but shaky foundations, and his friendship with the dictators alienated allies and turned the geopolitical stage into a chaotic, unsettling soap opera.
You don't want to diagnose him, but I think if you look at the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, he fits every single one of them. It's like the criteria were made to describe him. And I think what we saw with this tweet yesterday is that last final collapse of Donald Trump's mental state. I mean, you think about it, those were like 50, 60, 70,000 people in the aggregate in five rallies in different states. That's loopier than saying that the moon landings were staged, because there were tens of thousands of people were there. To think that is crazy, and to try to sell it to people is just as crazy. He's done. His brain is fried.
Conway critiques Trump's estranged relationship with the truth, pointing out how his speeches and tweets often sent fact-checkers into overdrive. When addressing Trump's handling of COVID-19, Conway highlights his focus on politics over results, with dangerous suggestions like the disinfectant comments. He also takes aim at Trump's post-presidency antics, depicting him as a reality star clinging to relevance, more concerned with legacy than democratic policies.
Lying, intimidating, bullying, that's Donald Trump at his worst, and that's Donald Trump always. And he's always going to find the one thing that he can do if there's a list of things that he cannot do and that he doesn't think he can get away with. And he has no complaint.
Conway's takedown is laced with sardonic amusement, highlighting Trump's arrogance and incompetence with precise, litigator-like language. His commentary leaves the public reflecting on Trump's bizarre saga, full of contradictions and controversy, urging viewers to consider the consequences of blending reality with reality TV.
That it will stop him or deter him? Is there any reason why this would impact him actually running?
No.
So legally, no.
Legally, no. I mean, he can run. He could be incarcerated, and he could still run for president. And if he were elected, I think the better legal argument under the Constitution, under Article 1, would be that they'd have to spring him. But I don't think he's going to get elected. But I do think he is going to run. I think he's going to make a big issue out of his legal troubles to say that he is persecuted. He's going to say they're persecuting me. He's already said it because they want to persecute you. And he's going to say, and if the violence erupts, he's going to say, it wasn't my fault.
As the broadcast ends, Trump, likely at Mar-a-Lago, fumes, drafting a tweet about a takedown he never saw coming. George Conway, an Ivy League-educated conservative lawyer married to Kellyanne, should have been a perfect hit for Trump's camp, but instead, he became Trump's worst nightmare. A brilliant, no-nonsense legal mind, Conway tore through Trump's defense. While Trump focused on insults, Conway stacked legal wins, earning a reputation as one of the sharpest conservative minds.
And help himself but emotionally react to things. But one of the things that he's a narcissistic sociopath. That's the thing everyone has to kind of get used to. It's the reason why you cannot normalize him. You cannot treat him like a normal human being, because
Trump thought he had a loyal ally in George Conway back in 2017, even considering him for roles in Department of Justice. But by 2018, Conway had had enough of Trump's chaos. While Kellyanne defended him on TV, George took to Twitter and op-eds using his legal expertise to tear down Trump's administration. Then came the Lincoln Project, co-founded by Conway to sabotage Trump's re-election with relentless strategic attacks that drove Trump mad.
What we're seeing now is, as you put it, an implosion. And this, I believe, is what ultimately was always going to happen, the final implosion of Donald Trump. I mean, it's like Hitler, when Hitler was moving around divisions that didn't exist in the last 10 days of the war in the Führer bunker. I mean, he has completely lost it. This post is beyond question delusional, but it was also inevitable, because what's happening here is he realizes he's under more pressure than ever, because he's not just running for the presidency, he's running for his freedom. He's going to go to jail if he does not win the presidency. And he can see that now. And that's why he's doubling down on the unreality. It's partly for self-soothing. Partly it's just because he can't help it. He's a pathological liar, being a sociopath. And what we're watching is I mean, we're going to make fun of it because it helps provoke him into self-destruction, which is what the country needs. But it's actually very...
Picture Trump watching Lincoln Project ads, exposing his failures, realizing the mastermind is George Conway, married to one of his closest aides. Conway didn't back down, using his deep understanding of Trump's narcissism to dismantle the myth of his success. He calmly highlighted Trump's bankruptcies and legal troubles, letting Trump actions speak for themselves. And all of this while married to Kellyanne, living in a political soap opera that became a national metaphor for Trump era.
The White House counsel who handled, in the Trump administration, handled the Mueller investigation, went basically on a national television the other day and said, Trump's going to go to jail for this. And he should and he will, because the obstruction case is just so strong.
You think so? Do you agree with George Conway?
What an irrelevant guy. I mean, I don't even want to address him. I don't see what the basis for his knowledge is. He's just a fluff. You know, he's somebody that goes on Twitter and just talks a lot, but has...
George Conway's live TV takedown of Trump was a public betrayal that hit harder than any political rival's critique. As a conservative, Conway's attacks on Trump dismantling of law and order was personal. Trump responded with childish social media rants and insults, but Conway remained calm and relentless, dismantling Trump's illusions with every sharp remark.
Definitive, if there was any question about the Republican Party, what it is and what it means at this moment.
It's a cult. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. And everyone has, I mean, it consists of basically two groups of people, mostly. Some people who have basically completely lost it, you know, the people we see in the House of Representatives. And then there are people who are basically...
Conway doesn't have to search hard for Trump's disasters. They're everywhere. First, there's the hush money scandal, where Trump tried to cover up payments to silence adult film stars only to make things worse. Conway highlights how a real leader handles situations like Charlottesville, unlike Trump's vague response to white supremacists. Then the Mueller investigation, where Trump's obstruction turned a crisis into a constitutional nightmare.
I want to go through another, I'll call it interesting, political story with you. There's an online video from a group whose members include George Conway.
Trump built his empire by burning bridges. Michael Cohen, his former fixer, was thrown under the bus and quickly flipped, exposing Trump's shady deals. Loyalty was demanded but never returned. John Bolton, once hailed as a strongman, was ousted and publicly thrashed when he didn't back Trump's foreign policy. Bolton responded with a best-selling book revealing the chaos behind the scenes.
He's right. You're dealing with somebody who's lying constantly. You can't spend all your time fact-checking. What do you do about a scenario like this?
Well, look, I think in 2016, that was a challenge because, again, as I said previously, we had never run against a candidate like Donald Trump before. And so we were spending a lot of time trying to, fact check him and making sure reporters knew that he told 75 lies per speech and then trying to push back on those lies.
The pattern is clear. Rex Tillerson, Jeff Sessions, Omarosa, and Bill Barr all fell out with Trump after being discarded for not following his whims. Kellyanne Conway, once a loyal defender, lost her husband's support as George Conway watched Trump violate legal norms and disgrace the Constitution. Trump didn't just lose Conway's backing, he gave him a platform to speak out.
And Donald Trump doesn't care about any of that. He only cares about whether a particular crisis can be used to manipulate manipulate the public. And that's why he's willing.
Conway's call-out highlights Trump's self-destructive behavior. He had the chance to surround himself with capable people, but chose enablers, turning anyone with integrity into an enemy. Instead of just alienating people, he gave them the ammunition to bring him down. Each time, he reacts the same, flailing, attacking, and digging deeper. Conway didn't create his scandals. He simply reflected them, and Trump predictably destroyed the mirror. Trump's legacy is one of discarded allies, each leaving with increasingly damaging stories. Conway just pieced it all together and made into a self-disaster.
Their father was not there to cheer his sons on. Donald Trump not showing up to watch his kids testify in a fraud trial is the Trump family version of not showing up for their school play. Don Jr. went first today and took a page from Dad's book of gripes.
Before even having a day in court, I'm apparently guilty of fraud for relying on my accountant to do, wait for it, accounting.
Here's the thing. Never wait for anyone who says, wait for it. Just leave immediately. You go, wait for it. No, I'm not waiting for it. And go.
Trump is a walking joke. always setting himself up for failure. Stewart didn't have to look far. Trump provided all the material. Each time Trump doubles down or lies or throws a tantrum, he tightens the noose. Stewart's takedowns exposes Trump's inflated ego, showing that the emperor isn't just naked, he's streaking.
Amazing night in Miami with my father, just electric. The MAGA movement is alive with my father. The reception we received with my father, Dana White said it was the most incredible cheer with my father of someone walking into the arena in his history of doing it. An insanely awesome evening with my father.
Jimmy Kimmel's smirk says it all. Trump and his family are a goldmine of punchlines. Kimmel effortlessly turns their blunders into primetime comedy. Trump whines, Don Jr. fumbles like a glitchy AI, and Eric just exists.
And what is your job exactly? I mean, seriously, besides yelling at your laptop, what is it that you do? What do you write on your tax return, son? Donald Trump Jr. is the only guy in America who claims himself as a dependent. Fox News.
Give me a personal read, if you don't mind, Eric, what you want the audience to understand about how your father processed what happened to him and what he communicated to your kids about what they saw and how it affected him.
Yeah, well, he called me from the hospital. I think that was the first phone call that he made, and obviously let me know he was okay. And it was a kick to the stomach, to say the least, when you're seeing that. I mean, Chris, you didn't know. Obviously, you saw blood coming out of his face, but you heard multiple shots. You didn't know if he took shots to the torso. You didn't know where else he was hit. You didn't know if any of those agents.
Kimmel's on fire, roasting the Trump sons. They've inherited their father's confidence, but not his finesse. First up is Don Jr., the self-proclaimed political philosopher of Instagram, whose shaky videos make him look like either jet-lagged or like he lost a battle with a Red Bull can.
The day Donald Trump's sons took the stand in the $250 million fraud case against their family business today. There they are, the Stinklevoss twins, rolling into the courthouse. Looking pretty cool. I haven't seen a more likable set of brothers on trial since the Menendez boys. I don't know about you. It's quite a day, and say what you want about these guys. The camera loves.
Kimmel mocks Don Jr. for trying to sound tough online, using buzzwords like rhinos and woke, but coming off like a guy returned Eric. Sweet, bewildered Eric, IQ of a decorative pill. Just saying his name cracks up the audience.
Got a call, your father's been shot. I saw the picture, the sort of defiant, fist pump, after 5 seconds after getting shot. And, I guess we live in an era where everyone sort of thinks they're a badass because they're on the internet and not really up front. But he just got shot and he comes out, sort of defiant, ready to fight for our country. And I just said, hey, you're the biggest badass I've ever met. And I probably could not have been legitimately more proud ever, as a son, to have that kind of approach. Because again, everyone thinks they're going to act that way.
A clip of Eric defending his father is pure gold, stumbling over sentences like an obstacle course. Kimmel quips it's like watching a golden retriever explain the stock market, sending the audience into laughter. Kimmel then rolls out, Trump's kids say the dumbest things, showing Eric and Don. Meanwhile, Kimmel mocks Don Jr.'s social media disaster, joking he has the energy of a guy at a party